A cruise. The word itself conjures something safe, structured, controlled. Deck chairs, open ocean, nothing you weren't expecting. The MV Hondius left Argentina in April 2026 with 149 people aboard. They were adventurers, expedition travelers, people who paid to go somewhere most ships never go. By the time the ship reached Cape Verde, 3 of them were dead. 2 more were critically ill, and the international health authorities coordinating the response could not fully explain how any of it happened. This is dark geography. The MV Hondius is not a typical cruise ship. She measures 107 meters from bow to stern. She was built for polar exploration, reinforced hull, ice class rated, capable of navigating waters where no ordinary vessel would survive. Her operator is Ocean-Wide Expeditions, a Dutch company that specializes in taking people to places that most ships are never designed to reach. The route she was sailing was not a Caribbean loop or a Mediterranean tour. She had departed from Ushuaia, the southernmost city on Earth, a port at the very bottom of Argentina, where the land simply runs out and the South Atlantic takes over. From there, she traveled to the Falkland Islands, then South Georgia, then St. Helena, then north toward Cape Verde. 149 passengers and crew aboard, 23 nationalities, 17 Americans, 19 British, 38 Filipinos, passengers from Spain, France, Germany, Australia, Japan. A cross-section of the world, sealed together at sea, sailing through some of the most remote water on the planet. They were, by every account, doing exactly what they came to do, exploring. Then people started dying. April 11th. A passenger dies on board. Dutch national, 70 years old. The cause of death cannot be determined with the equipment available on the ship. His body is kept aboard. His wife stays with him. April 24th. The ship reaches St. Helena, a British territory in the South Atlantic, one of the most isolated islands on Earth. The body is disembarked. His wife accompanies the repatriation. April 27th. The call comes in to Ocean-Wide Expeditions. The wife became unwell during the return journey. She has died. 2 Dutch nationals, husband and wife, dead within weeks of each other. The cause of each, unknown. Also on April 27th, a 3rd passenger, a 69-year-old British man. He becomes seriously ill on board. Medical evacuation, South Africa. Intensive care unit, a hospital in Johannesburg. The laboratory results come back. He has tested positive for a variant of Hantavirus. May 2nd, a 4th person dies on board, a German national. Cause has not yet been established. His body remains on the ship. 2 crew members, 1 British, 1 Dutch, develop acute respiratory symptoms, 1 mild, 1 severe. Neither confirmed to carry the virus, both requiring urgent medical care. The WHO launches a formal international investigation. 4 dead or in intensive care, 2 more ill. 149 people anchored off Cape Verde, waiting on a ship that the local health authorities will not allow to dock. 3 deaths, 1 confirmed virus. No explanation for how it got there. Because here is the problem. Hantavirus is a rodent-borne pathogen. That is not a detail. That is the entire mechanism of how it works. The virus lives in rodents, primarily mice and rats. It is shed in their urine, their feces, their saliva. When those materials dry out and become airborne, particles too small to see, too light to feel, humans inhale them. The infection sets in. In the most dangerous variant, The virus attacks the lungs. Fluid fills the air sacs. The body can no longer breathe. Mortality rate, approximately 38 to 40%. There is no cure. There is no specific treatment. You treat the symptoms. You wait. You hope. Now, the MV Hondius, a ship with no rodents. That is what the operator stated. No evidence of infestation, no nests, no droppings, no animals, and yet, hantavirus. Scientists are watching this closely. Virologist Vaithi Arumugaswamy of UCLA told Nature that the strain involved is likely the Andes virus, first identified in Chile and Argentina in 1995. What makes the Andes virus different from every other known hantavirus strain is a single, critical fact. It is one of the only strains capable of spreading directly from person to person, not through a rodent, through a person. It is documented, it is rare, and it means that on a sealed vessel in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, the usual rules may not have applied. Science writes it down. Science just doesn't always publish what it finds. To understand how any of this could have happened, you need to understand where the MV Hondius had been. This was not a cruise to the Bahamas. South Georgia is a sub-Antarctic island. The nearest permanent human settlement is more than 1,300 kilometers away. The island has no indigenous population. It was historically the center of one of the world's largest whaling industries. And when the whalers came in the 1800s, they brought rats. Norway rats. Millions of them. The rodent population grew so severe it threatened to wipe out entire native bird species. A massive eradication campaign cleared much of the island in the 2000s. But South Georgia is vast, remote, difficult to fully monitor. And passengers from the MV Hondius went ashore there. They walked on that ground. St. Helena. St. Helena sits alone in the South Atlantic, 1,200 miles from the nearest continent. Napoleon Bonaparte was exiled there in 1815. He died there in 1821 and could not leave. The island has a rodent population. It has a history of disease. When the ship docked to disembark the body of the first man who died, his wife walked onto that island. She became ill. She died. Whether that is coincidence or connection has not been established. But in dark geography, the line between coincidence and pattern is often very thin. Ushuaia, Argentina. The ship began its journey at the southern tip of Argentina. Argentina has been experiencing an ongoing outbreak of the Andes virus since July 2025. Between July 2025 and January 2026, the 6 months immediately before this voyage, at least 20 people died from the Andes strain in that country. The fatality rate climbed significantly above historical averages. Ushuaia sits more than 1,500 kilometers from the known outbreak zone. But passengers had traveled to Ushuaia. Some had passed through Argentina. Any one of them could have been carrying the virus before they ever boarded. And on a sealed ship with recirculated air and shared spaces, that is a very different kind of problem than a rodent nest in a basement. If this is your first time with us, the channel is Dark Geography. We go to real places that feel like they shouldn't exist. Subscribe before we continue. We're not done. For anyone on board who is only now beginning to feel unwell, the timeline matters. Hantavirus pulmonary syndrome does not announce itself immediately. The incubation period is 1 to 8 weeks from exposure. That means passengers infected at the beginning of the voyage may be only now developing symptoms. They may not know yet. The fever they feel could be a cold. The fatigue could be jet lag. The aching muscles, just the long journey home. 4 to 10 days after those first symptoms, the lungs begin to fill. Coughing, shortness of breath. The fluid accumulates. The body cannot get enough oxygen. In severe cases, patients require mechanical ventilation, a machine that breathes for them. Some require dialysis as the kidneys begin to fail. The British man in the ICU in Johannesburg is 69 years old. He has been in intensive care since late April. As of May 4, 2026, he is described as critical but stable. The 2 crew members showing respiratory symptoms have not had hantavirus confirmed. Whether that confirmation comes and when remains unknown. More cases may still emerge. The incubation window has not closed. 149 people anchored off Cape Verde, unable to disembark, waiting. As of May 4, 2026, the MV Hondius remains anchored off Cape Verde. Local health authorities have visited the vessel. They have assessed the situation. They have not permitted disembarkation. The options being discussed: sail to Las Palmas, sail to Tenerife, find somewhere that will accept them, somewhere with medical facilities, where proper screening can begin, and those who are ill can be moved to care. Ocean-wide Expeditions is working with the WHO, the Dutch National Public Health Institute, relevant embassies, and the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Strict isolation protocols are in place aboard. Hygiene measures, medical monitoring. The passengers have been informed. Informed of what exactly remains the question. That a virus requiring rodents was found on a ship with no rodents. That 3 of their fellow travelers are dead. That 2 more are ill. That the investigation is ongoing. That no one yet has the full answer. There are 149 people on that ship from 23 nations. 17 Americans, 19 British, people from Spain, France, Australia, Japan, crew members from the Philippines, Ukraine, India, Guatemala, people who signed on for a routine polar expedition and are now waiting for permission to leave a vessel that has become something none of them planned for. A ship with no rodents. A virus that requires rodents to spread. 3 dead. 1 man in intensive care in a hospital thousands of miles from home. A body still aboard. Some voyages don't end the way they were supposed to. Hantavirus was first identified near the Hantan River in South Korea in the 1970s. Its presence in the Americas was unknown until 1993. A sudden outbreak in the Four Corners region, where Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, and Utah converge. It killed healthy adults within days. It had been there, presumably, for a long time. No one had noticed. In February 2025, Betsy Arakawa, wife of Oscar-winning actor Gene Hackman, died of hantavirus pulmonary syndrome in New Mexico. Investigators found rodent nests in the outbuildings of the property. In the days before she died, she had searched the internet for flu symptoms. She did not know what was happening to her. No one had thought to tell her to look for this. The WHO has said the risk to the general public remains low. They are probably right. This is, by all available evidence, a localized event, a rare exposure, an outbreak that science will explain. Where the rodent was, when the contact happened, how the virus crossed from animal to human, and then possibly from human to human in a sealed space with nowhere to go. But the MV Hondius is still out there, still anchored, still waiting. And the passengers, 149 of them from 23 countries, people who booked an adventure to the edge of the world, are still on board. Whether you believe in the predictability of science or the strangeness of remote places, this much is not in question. The MV Hondius sailed into somewhere it did not fully understand, and whatever was waiting there found a way inside. Some places have a way of following you home. This is dark geography. Subscribe, and we'll take you somewhere else entirely next time. Where should we go? Leave it in the comments. We're always listening.